And then I need to turn on the... That should be me, maybe, perhaps. I'm waiting for my the video to load because it's saying the video is not loaded. Okay. This shows things is good. Yeah. Okay. Good. Why am I not? No. Sorry, guys. I was having a moment. That shows me good. This says. There we go. Okay. Now I have video. Good for me. Yay. And then okay. Okay. Says I'm 2 minutes into this thing, but I just barely got here. Where is my chat? Yes. Where is my chat log, gentlemen? Hmm. My chat log is missing. See, I can see them talking here, which is right, but I normally have a chat here, and it's not there. Yep. There it goes. All right, so I can close
No, leave that.
that.
That's your liveness, isn't it?
I believe so.
What's the link? Are they both the same?
This is the channel. This is whatever. I'll leave it here. At least now I can see this, which is what I needed. It's on a delay. Like all things in my life, it is slightly delayed. Okay. I think. Perhaps. Maybe. We're good. Yeah. So, hello everyone. Now that we've established things might be okay, and I have my chat log, not to go with the normal streaming one that's on the right-hand side of the screen currently. I can answer questions this way then, which is good, because, we like answering questions. That's what make live chats happen. That can get closed down, and this needs to get turned off so I don't get killed with questions or my sister's doing stuff like trying to text me. Okay. And then I also need to kill, no, not Steam, Discord. Discord needs to stop, so I won't get pinged from Discord currently. Okay. So, hey everyone, welcome in. It is July 15th. We are here for this month's live chat. We shall start with how we normally do with a recap of things that have happened and what we expect to see next. So, let's go back with Dungeon Walkers 3 came out on the 6th of this month, so 9 days ago. And we're going to have to wait the full 30 days to see how the book did overall. Um, from what I've seen from reviews and stuff, you guys have enjoyed it, so that is gratifying. We're gonna have to wait and see how the numbers fall out on it, though. I am kind of worried about that, though. I'll be honest. Um, but I think it was a good book. We will refrain from spoilers, or you will be slapped by the Sammy Cat paw, which will remove offending said comments. We've also had in the last couple of days Lux Voice 3 audio finally come out. And on the same day it came out, we pushed Lux Voice 4 audio up to ACX. So if we get really lucky anytime between now and whenever they decide, we'll get the audio for Lux Voice 4, which means it should be out well before Lux Voice 5 gets published. And why does that matter? Because, of course, the next book that we're going to publish is going to be Lux Voice 5. Patreon has already started to see the preview chapters. So for those people who are on Patreon, I hope you've been enjoying that. And another thing to point out is I have finished Lux Voice 5. It is with editors and stuff now, and I will be starting in on Binding Words 9. So things remain in progress as we keep going. Um, with how I normally write, I will hope to get Binding Words 9 wrapped and finished before the end of August when I leave to go to DragonCon. There's an outside chance that I will still be putting in chapters, though, while at DragonCon as well. Which, since we're now talking about DragonCon, um, the meet and greet on September the 1st at the Medieval Times in Atlanta still has many spots open. There have been open open invites thrown out on various social media platforms up till the number of seats that have been basically bought and paid for you guys to be able to come to freely as long as you sign up for it. If you would like to represent my section with its own night, you need to DM me on Discord, on Facebook, here, because I need things like your name, an email address, and like dietary restrictions. And I need that for any single person coming. So if it's you and the wife, I would need the names and stuff for you and your wife, for instance. And if you have a harem, then, wives, plural, because we don't judge here. Um, or girlfriends or boyfriends, I don't care. As long as it's legal and consensual. I don't care what your partners or partner might be, as long as those two criteria are met. Um, but if you'd like to come to that event, then of course there have been posts on my Facebook page and on Discord of where, when, why, how, and we would love to see you there. We've had some people sign up, and then we've had the greater community of GameLit, HaremLit, and Lit RPG start to sign up for it as well. Since there will be multitudes of people going into DragonCon, we'd like to at least have some of you come over for it. So I think that kind of catches us up on things. Sounds about right. So now I'm going to start trolling through chat and finding your questions or comments that I think I should reply to. And, you know, we'll get to that. Okay. Actually made it for once. Congratulations on Dungeon Walkers 3. Well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate you being here. I'm glad you made it in to the live. If you get very, very lucky, you might be one of the randomly selected people at the very end who has the chance of getting a coin. By the way, for those people who have been here before, please check your messages. It's the little button that looks like a chat bubble in the upper right hand corner. It says whispers. Because there are a couple outstanding people from previous live chats that I would still like to get their loot to if they could reply. I don't know if you're here, but if you are, So just gonna throw that out there. Thank you for calling tech support. Is there a 7-year-old in your house that can assist us? I mean, it feels that way sometimes, but I mean, you should always at least take the standard steps of tech support yourself first. Turn it off and back on, make sure it's plugged in. The standard things that they're going to ask you to do regardless, and you can answer, yes, I've done that. And you can skip that whole first half of the checklist then, basically. Um, but 9 out of 10 times, it seems your problem can be solved with a simple turn it off and back on. Just saying hi before I go to work. Well, Rocket, thanks for coming in, man. I hope you have a good day at work. Be careful. For all of my truckers out there who are crossing the great United States and or other countries, I do not discriminate on country-based trucking. Um, just be safe when you're driving. It's not that I don't think you as truckers aren't safe. It's the fact that we all know that there are multitudes of idiots out on the roads who will do things like cut you off and not think about the fact that if you don't stop in time, you'd run over them and probably not feel much of it. So, uh, yeah, lots of people coming in. I appreciate that. And new followers too. Isn't that is lovely. Thank you very much. A wild crab has arrived. Well, you look like a punny pirate currently, wild crab. Krabby McCrab the third. How are the girlfriends? Overall okay. We've been to doctors. We have more doctor's appointments scheduled for things. At the moment, they are doing okay today. So, as with all things medical, it's always one day at a time, it seems. I am the hammer of message erase. Well, I mean, true. If you want an active hammer, get a cat. I mean, you'll probably deserve it at the very least. Because, cat can never be quite certain. Thank you for not doing evil things to me in Dungeon Walkers. Well, you're welcome. If you were one of my cameo appearances, I'm glad you won that during the giveaway. I will probably put up one or two more of those again in October when I do my published author anniversary. I give them away twice a year. I give them away in May during my full time anniversary, and I give them away in October during my I have been a published author for so long anniversary. I have part of a rug, as you can see, folks. This is the Marshmallow Itch Rug because I am allergic to dogs. You have indeed actually made it, Ash. Welcome in. Really hope Dungeon Walker survive. Want to see Stern and crew. Got a nice spot though, fortunately, if you have to end it. Um, even if it doesn't do great, Mike, if I'm like, okay, I really probably need to put this series to bed, I would go one more book because there are a few more things I would like to accomplish, if nothing else, and I do have an out to end the series earlier than I would like to if I need to. So the cat is away, the mice can play. Uh, okay. Yeah, JPEGs, we're doing fairly okay. Okay, Dragon Con, what's that? We're there. Good, good. Dungeon Walkers 3 had me in the feels in more than one spot. All of your books can do that at points, though. I appreciate that, but just a brief glance at numbers over the last roughly 10 days, it's looking thin. The initial surge from you guys, my diehard fans, always helps at the start. But it's the longevity over the first month of release that tells me whether or not it's going to do well or not, which is why I always wait for the 30-day mark before checking numbers. Um, So it's going to be up in the air. I would be able to tell you guys more in August on that. I hope, but until we get there, I can't say for certain. Sadly, I want to go, but Atlanta is a haul from Dallas. It's even further from Nevada, Dave. Yeah, that's going. Lots of people will be there. And actually, you as a comic person, I mean, if you announced it like a year ahead of time and you thought about getting a booth up in Comic Alley and stuff, it might not be terrible for you. I mean, something for you to look at if you're considering, doing it at some point. The cost for the Medieval Times event Hardcore Holly is zero if you have signed up. Well, I mean, you'd have to figure out your own transportation to get there because I ain't holding your hand, folks. But the event itself, from the time you walk through the front door for the dinner and the meet and greet and whatnot, that is zero. Whether or not you want to buy um, additional beverages and stuff while you're there is going to be, of course, entirely up to you. But to get in the door, if you have signed up, it is $0. It was paid for by a collection of people who wanted to put on the event ahead of time. And yes, I was one of those because I thought it'd be fun. 5 hours is right on the cusp of maybe it's worth it, but good sense keeps me reeling me back in. I mean, I can understand that. I wouldn't want to drive that long, honestly, and in fact, I don't. I have a girlfriend who used to drive long distances, and for those road trips, she still does. Um, so I understand the probably not wanting to go. And hopping across the pond is more expensive. You are correct, Jazz. Um, one of these days, I might travel outside of the United States. So, of course, if I ever do that, I will advise people ahead of time so maybe something can happen. But in the meantime, at the moment, it's years down the road. This week has been busy with doctor stuff and also getting passports set up and everything else because I know at some point I would like to do that. Uh, The whole place is rented out. There will not be random people there, damn, that is correct. The Medieval Times event um, was paid for 300 people to attend. You will not get just random people who walk up and want to be able to purchase a ticket. It is normally closed on that night in question, but we have convinced them to put on a private show for those of the game lit RPG, harem lit, and various subgroups. Um, because some of us authors decided after the impromptu birthday party that was held at the Medieval Times last year that wouldn't it be fun if? And we made it happen. So we're hoping that we get enough interest in people in there that maybe next year we'd get even more people jazzed with the idea. But we will have to wait and see how this year's goes. If it wasn't for the fact I know I would have had to have gotten a hotel room in 1926, I'd totally do it. It depends on how close you want to be to the venue itself. Uh, Akosis. If you don't mind using the MARTA system that's in Atlanta, the underground train, not quite subway system, um, you can stay further away from that part of downtown Atlanta and still find hotel rooms and cheaper than you could in some venues that are much closer. So there are ways to attend. You just have to realize what you're going to do ahead of time. Like, if you're making the plans now, you have to realize, okay, the MARTA systems run from X to Y, and I need to make sure that I can always catch that last train back for the evening. Um, but you could totally still attend Dragon Con and not be right down in the middle of it in one of the con hotels. It's possible. I love the Lux Voice series on my second listen through the second listen through the book. I'm really looking forward to the next book. So yeah, if we get really lucky, guys, Lux Voice 4 audio will be out before the end of the month. I'm thinking with the way ACX normally functions, it'll probably be just into August when it drops, unless they completely fuck the ball over. And I mean that is a possibility for them. But I'm thinking probably very right at the end of this month, early next month, we'll see Lux Voice 4 audio. I can't give a date because we never know. One of my fans found out it was released on Audible. Lux Voice 3 was released on Audible before I did. Because communication from ACX isn't exactly fucking stellar. I can't get the time off work. I use my vacation days. Well, Rocket, I understand. That's one of the downsides to vacation days and when you're using them. I have been trying to go every year since I've started going. So if nothing else, you can always look at next year. First time chat viewer. I'm gonna call you Fubar. What's next on the release schedule? Well, Fubar, Lux Voice 5 is next on the release schedule. As long as it's legal and consensual. I mean, that's all I really ask for in relationships. Legal and consensual. I mean, as long as you're checking off those boxes, it should be fine. And if you found a way to not make it fine and check off those two boxes, I'm concerned. Yes, Punny Pirate, I have a collection of coins, one for each series that I have published so far. Um, in fact, I might have one. I have one of my things. It's not a coin. Oh, there they are. That's a Last Horizon coin. So my Last Horizon coin. So the the banana on the front, the four of the bananas on the back, and I have a coin for each series with something on there that represents each series. Oop. And then of course this drawer, which has 10,000 things it doesn't need in it, is going to have a problem closing. One of these days I need to get all my desk stuff cleaned out again. And then my girlfriend said I should show you my tattoo. So I'm not sure if that's on camera. There we go. So the Alpha Company logo. Of course, people have seen the For the Bananas. I now have the Alpha Company logo on my arm as well. The next one going down that arm is going to be Sharing is Caring for Apocalypse Gates. I am putting a tattoo on my skin for each closed series that I have completed. I actually have the next tattoo slated for November, I believe. I wanted to make sure I was out of, traveling period because I do not want a fresh tattoo and have to be traveling places. That just seems like a bad idea all around, honestly. Got my first coin back in April. He doesn't. Oh, you're letting people know that I'm well behind everyone, which is good. It's true. I try to answer the questions this way for those people who are wondering why in the hell I seem so derpy on what how Twitch is supposed to operate, which is just letting all the chat fly by. Oh, love to go, but that requires having a passport to cross border. Yeah, see, fair enough, Darth, and I understand that. Well, I don't know. If she doesn't, then I don't know. I I would have sworn she had one. She should probably look in her closet again. I mean, she's getting slightly old. I say that with the dearest of love to my mother. Uh, or was I? Will all of Sean's choosers get the ability to shrug off death? We haven't seen it yet, so I can't say. Until it's written down on the book, I leave it open to reader interpretation. It's only once I've written it into a book that I consider it answered. Until then, it's up for you to decide what and who and why. aside from the bard, what else are some of the ways you've just told the DM to get bent? There's a prestige, not a prestige class. There's a what is it, subclass or whatever it is, a specialization I think is what they're called for wizard. Um, in the Unearthed Arcana, it has not made it into any book yet, which lets you change the energy type of magic from one type to another as long as it uses a spell slot. Immensely fun if your DM loves to throw, things that are resistant to 12 different things that you is always finding the one that they're not then. And you kind of have to know the DM, the monsters to be able to fudge with that even more. But I have used that when the DM decided he was going to punish the group, with things like, well, you guys all have fire on your weapons, and you're going to fight things that are resistant to fire now. Okay, well, my mage is going to start casting force spells, and that's it. Because almost nothing has resistance to force magic, which is amazing. So it's a nice little workaround. He did approve it and then didn't realize, didn't do his due diligence and read up on it. So the first time it happened, he was a little shocked. Notice for coin is through Facebook, right? No, actually, their message is here since I hold the live chats here now. They are through the whisper slash message system here on Twitch. I have a couple of outstanding from the last few. Since, these names that you have, JMC Knight, J McKnight, probably J McKnight, um, aren't exactly probably the same as you have on Facebook, it would get really funny. And not everybody here actually uses Facebook. I know at least two people who show up to these semi regularly don't use Facebook. So I just use the message system here because if you're here to watch this, I can message you on this. So Dungeon Walkers 3 was KU'd, read, and then returned, so I can purchase it next month. And you only have to wait till the first. Yeah. You. Sorry, reminds me of a sock, a shark puppet from YouTube fame. You. Um, but you just have to wait till August 1st. You have to wait for the next calendar month. Momentum is a myth. 18 wheelers can stop as fast as Mahana. Yeah, but it doesn't help when they cut in front of you bumper to bumper. I'm just saying. When you have people trying to slide in and out of traffic in front of an 18 wheeler, probably not the smartest thing they've done in life. You stay, I gotta go. It's okay, Rocket. Thank you for stopping in. It's an old name. I was in high school. That's what all the punny pirates say. No, no, he's a punny pirate here. I'm gonna make sure he stays a punny pirate on Twitch. He'll figure out how to change his name on Twitch eventually, and that'll be good for him. But until that day, he is a punny pirate. Oh, I have puppers, which means then that I am back a little ways. That's fine. I don't mind. Okay, process now. Just uh, really enjoying the Dungeon Walker series. I appreciate that, Struggles. The struggles is real. They are here. Struggles. Does the rug sleep on under the massive cat climbing thing? The cat tree in the background? He normally sleeps in the doorway, honestly. Makes it very hard to walk in and out of the room because he lays long ways. No, he's halfway in the room, halfway out, and then his paws kind of take up stepping space. You don't really have like a clean walkway, and he's not laying long ways in front of the door, so you have an easier time stepping over him. So he's a giant rug. He sleeps where he wants. He was actually asleep over in front of the cat beds in front of the cat tree earlier today, and I thanked him for not sleeping in the doorway because if positive enforcement can help any, I would like it to. Do you think Sean will have to switch back to crafting? I mean, he did say in the last book that um, he probably would continue to do so, just not make it a focus. So, will he make things in the series still? Yeah, probably. He's still a crafter at heart, but he has set himself on a different path for the time being. The pool noodle has some reach, but it doesn't really quite have enough reach to be used across the office. So I have been spared the wrath of surprise pool noodle over the back of the chair. So there is that.
Huh. Funny part, change his name.
Now, see, I told you he'd figure it out.
Grab and grab. I have to fix his name on the list. He almost learned somehow cool name.
Well, listening to Lex Voice 3 had a funny thought. It would be hilarious to watch Posey from LV and Elsa from AR have a polite discussion over who is the better dad figure between Greg and Doc. I mean, it kind of would be, but then are we taking Andy's perceived headcanon where Posey's actually like this evil um uh the great evil behind it all, the evil mastermind? And it would then at that point wouldn't Elsa throw in with her because she got fed up with Greg's shit about not trusting her? I mean, could go a couple ways. See, you guys made her get out the pool noodle, okay?
I can reach you. See?
If you stick your finger in the hole, yes, you can reach me. Jeez, the length she will go to so she can have a small smidgen of being able to poke me with a pool noodle. Ah, the new narrator Xerox, Stephanie Savannah, I don't think records until like sometime in August. So, but to be fair, audio will never make or break a series for me. It's residual income. I don't I will never make enough off of audio to make it the driving factor behind something. I do audio for my truckers, my workers who, need something while they're slaving away 12 hours a day. I never think audio is going to make me enough money compared to the books themselves that it's going to factor in because I make roughly about the same across the board no matter which book it is with audio. So, sad, but true. I just finished listening to Outworld again. The healing that happens in that series is inspiring. Makes me really wish that tech was available. I mean, I agree with you. Yeah, that was that was the reason I wrote the series. So, when do you know if any of your books have been nominated for Dragon Awards? Um, I there's a window of time, and then they I think they vote on them. I'm not sure when they vote on them. The voting might take place during DragonCon. I would be hard. I would be shocked if any of my books ever even got nominated for the Dragon Award. So, because it takes more than one person putting the book out there. It takes a concerted effort normally for the book to be nominated. And honestly, I'm not looking to achieve acclaim through awards in any way, shape, or form. I just would like people to read the book and enjoy them. So, oh yeah, it would be cool, but I'm not gonna try to, I'm not gonna spend the time trying to drum up support to get everyone to go to the website to nominate book, and I can't do that. That's not who I am. I don't. I mean, I don't spend money on advertising really for a reason. So I thought you knew better than that. We are fans of Daniel's books. We aim to misbehave because we have watched Firefly, and you have to aim to misbehave. You better not have spoiled. Yeah, if you guys spoiled, then honestly, you got to get thrown out. You can't have spoiled things sitting around. I know. I'm just saying though. 3 days of driving to get there kind of sucks. How many stops do you make on the way? Oh, okay. I wouldn't mind attending a con. What I do with a booth at a, but I'm not sure what I do with a booth at a Comic Con as I have nothing to sell. I mean, you could, Dave, and you could do drawings specific to an individual. Quick black and whites. I'm not sure how long a pencil black and white would take you, for instance. You could always print up um, stills from one of your comics to sign and sell. And I don't know. I mean, outside of Patreon, I'm not sure how you specifically make money. Um, so you would need to, I guess, push them to Patreon where you could, generate revenue off of them and so on and so forth. Um, if nothing else, though, if you went and got a booth and you manned that booth for a day, whatever, you could always then, of course, call it a business expense because it would be. And I'm not sure how your money situations break down, but I can always use business expenses. They're always useful to have. Dragon Con is one big business expense for me because I talk to other authors, I talk to my narrators, my publishers. So all of that becomes down to one giant business expense, which is really nice. Hit me up if there's ever anything in Denver, but I'd love to screech like a Twilight fangirl for you. Okay, make a mental note. Be careful of Denver. But there are other people in Colorado that I would actually go and see. So, I don't know. If you remain a punny pirate, maybe. Where was I? Uh, Not about to drive to Georgia again. Yeah, fair enough. Breaking news bulletin. The characters do things, someone nearly dies, or never dies, or they all die. I mean, it seems like most books, honestly. 6 hour drive to Kentucky to Georgia. Yeah, see, that's like one day of driving. That's not terrible. Three days of driving, not exactly great. I really enjoyed Breaking the Bank. Now we just wait some months for the next book. Don't understand why ACX is so slow. Well, Andy actually recorded the next book. You'll actually get it much sooner than a couple of months. However, it will be months before you get Binding Words 8 on audio. Because I know, like, Andy's recording. I forget which book she's recording. She's recording one, I think, for Mountaindale Press currently. I know she has another. Um, oh my God, I eat a month of my time recording. Hang on, The Wandering Inn to record. And then she's got another Will book to get to, and then I think she gets back to me again. So she'll record Binding Words 8. Uh, I don't know actually. Since recording is so hit and miss, I mean, her voice has to be on point all the time. It's really hard to say, but I would say it's going to be months at the very least before it's recorded. I usually park my rig in Marietta and Uber to the convention. Oh, by the way, Too Tall, since you're here, there's a little button in the upper right-hand corner that says Whispers where messages can be sent. I know you won last month. So if you would like a coin, sir, please click the Whisper button in the upper right-hand corner over there and reply back. Well, he was here briefly at the very least. If you're still here and you've heard this, or if you watched it back on replay and you've heard this, I know that you were one of the people who missed last month's winners. So please, Azrin Healer is what she's doing right now. Correct. Thank you. I looked at the wrong chat to answer that, but that's okay. I answered one question way faster than I answered anything else. That's amazing. Uh, okay, yeah, I was there. Okay, I was there. You drove. Yeah, I answered that. Okay, got it. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Uh, I need to run to an appointment. Didn't even realize that today was a stream. I was just thinking about trying to find the schedule when I reviewed a Discord notice about 5 minutes before. No problem, man. I hope your appointment goes okay. I might or might not be still be streaming by the time you're done with it. So if nothing else, you can watch it back on replay. And then, of course, I try to remember to kick it over to YouTube in a timely manner. Uh, Probably be the one who learn, depending on how many people. I have a surprise for Daniel when we meet up at the convention. Too tall. I'm afraid. I'm gonna lay it out there. I am not above saying when I am afraid of things. I'm afraid. However, if you're the individual I believe you are, I'm not that afraid because you've been nice the couple of times I met you before. So, uh, time to plan an Ocean's 11 style heist and seize an entire chest of coins to use as post apocalypse currency. I mean, good luck with that, Punny. I don't think you should get a sharing is caring yet, since it's not done. It's just a soft ending. It's enough of an ending, Xerox, that it's going to get added. Because me getting back to AG at some point is going to be years down the road, and if I do then get back to it, then great. But at the moment, it's closed. So were the tattoos expensive price wise? I mean, no, I don't think so. I mean, it depends on what you consider expensive, though. Price is always flexible, honestly. Considering that at this point, I now have a discussion point inked on my arm. I think it's worth. I think it was worth the cost. Uh, I mean, if I become a tapestry jazz, I become a tapestry. I mean, it'll have to happen at that point. I would look worse than you. What? I would look worse than you. What? I would be more inked than you. That's basically what I was going for. You're my editor. Fix the words. Now we have Pouty Cat in the corner. Remember, folks, sexual harassment class has taught me it's not what you say or what you mean, it's how the other person takes it. And she pokes me again with a noodle, which I think is sexual harassment. You're not HR. You don't make hiring and firing decisions. Um, then I apologize, Mom. I would have sworn that you guys had shirts set aside. If nothing else, my sister has them all. So, heading off to make dinner. Had a wonderful stream. Well, hardcore. You too. I know. I used to watch her stream. She doesn't stream that much anymore. She had a lot going on in life. Boop, 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 boop. I'm glad you're doing live chats here instead of Facebook. Well, most of all, the stream has been way more stable for people. That's why we moved over. So, oh well. Coffee Dwarf is dead. Now it's time for water. Uh, I am now on my fifth reading of Dungeon Walkers 3. That is kind of impressive, honestly. Time to haul the FedEx packages. Bye, trucker. No, I still have the same two mugs. I have my dwarf and my blue mug. So the mugs that I've continually used. Uh, look at that Crab McCrab the third. He changed his name after all. Uh, that was the real reason you moved the offices around. Well, I mean, I need someone to make a pool noodle icon for the Discord channel. All of you enablers. All of you enablers. Uh, Hi, Brav. She's picking up the Dungeon Walker series. Travis stepped away from it. So Stephanie Savannah will be picking up with Dungeon Walkers 3. We, Andy made it in? Wow. I mean, I'll find out when I get down there in another, what, like 20 minutes or something, I'm sure, but, well, I mean, for Andy. Hang on. I'll go down for Andy. Wait, does that sound bad? I mean, I mean, not really. I'm sure, she'd be like, well, hello. Uh, pool noodle. Yep, yep, mm-hmm.
Ooh, sounds sexy.
I mean, okay, I have to focus on the questions on the far chat. I am gonna get distracted because the Andy showed up because Andy does that to me. There's a reason why I can't write and listen to her narrate at the same time because I just stop and stare at my monitor and listen to the voice. So, yeah. So questions on the far right side of my screen. That's what I'm doing here. Yeah, totally not getting distracted at all. How bad are your audio sales? I mean, they're not terrible, but they're not. They're a fraction of what I normally make on ebook Xerox. They're not terrible. I mean, they're good. I'm assuming they'd be decent for most people who do audio. Um, but like I said, they're not what I make off of ebooks. I never looked at audio as I'm going to make all the money this way. Any new series ideas spinning around in your head? Well, Rye, yes. Ideas are not a problem. I have plenty of ideas. Problem is having a spot open and writing rotation to keep them. I will not publish more than 4 series at any given time because I don't want you guys to wait a year between books. As it is, my current schedule means you wait about 6 to 8 months on average for, between like Binding Words 8 and Binding Words 9, which I think is okay enough. Because there are people who, don't care for Binding Words, but they love Lux Voice. People who don't care for Lux Voice, but they love Aether's Revival. So I at least try to get, those people who only enjoy one series, the next book of that series in a timely fashion. But yeah, ideas are not a problem. I still have my sci-fi mecha series that I want to do. I've briefly bounced to like a superhero type story around in my head. Um, I was bouncing a dark hero story around in my head with a main character that would be slightly less likable than Alvin. Um, but that to cross that line, even to shade that line even more closer to the villain, um, gets harder. Than a lot of people say they would like a villain story, but they really don't want a true villain story. Uh, most awards for book Xerox, uh, you either have to know somebody who's in charge of like of the whatever awards given out, like the Hugo. You have to know the people on the inside, so they'll nominate your stuff, or you got to get enough grass movement that it'll get talked about enough in places that people will look at it and start to pick it up and read it and hope they like it. So it's not one of the things I've ever really worried about myself. Step one, take over a small country. Step two, extract financial stable policies and export steps. C, convert all surplus to bars of gold and ship excess revenue in exchange for new books. I mean, sure. If somebody came to me with bars of gold and were like, hey, we need new books, I'd totally listen. Of course, I'd also need to see authenticity on those bars of gold because I don't want to receive stolen goods. I would like to not go to jail. I would not do well in there. She needs a pool noodle on a stick. On a steak. Hello, Marshmallow Rug. Hello. Hello, Marshmallow Rug. So when Doc was being confronted by the dwarves in front of the council, and one made the smartass comment about Doc's love life, I think he should have been described as having a taco tobacco. He should have described as having a tobacco pipe. That's why I was confused. Tobacco pipe or mug of ale in hand. What self-respecting smartass dwarf doesn't smoke or drink constantly? Apparently that one. I think I have enough gear in my closet alone. I mean, Crab, former military, you think you'd have enough stuff for at least the smallest of nations. It's only like 300. It's only like 300,000 miles to Dragon Con. Is that all, Xerox? Pfft, you could do that in a couple of months at least. I mean, keep forgetting to ask, how do you come up with your MC names? Or is it some or is it the same as your other characters? You just use the big book of character names. Most of the main characters have named themselves. Um, I've never, I've never struggled for a main character's name. Um, okay, I'm gonna write this story. It's gonna be about the reborn magic god and whatnot. And okay, so this character is Gregory. Okay, cool. Got a magic called Gregory. Different, but We'll roll with it. Um, Some of them, there has been at least one name that I planned out, and that was Alvin Leon Lambert, because of course I wanted the initials ALL. So normally though the characters have named themselves, and I don't have to think about the main characters' names. Um, I pull out the big book of names when I get to I have to name this person, and a name doesn't jump to my head right away. That's when I pull the big book of names out. Just dropping in to say thanks for the audiobooks. I'm about to start listening to Breaking the Bank. Well, Crimson, enjoy. I mean, it was read by the fantabulous Andy. So you will have all the voices that are perfectly done and give you all the life you want. If she's still here, I'm gonna slather the butter on so thick that she will enjoy it. I will lube the Andy with the butter, all the butter. Uh, I was told to stay. Somebody's threatening to leave, but why? After the butter, we get to the really fun parts. Uh, hey, Raph, glad you could make it, man. A part of me will hold out hope that we can make DJ medically immortal so he can go back to Apocalypse Gates and Dungeon Walker someday. Um, you don't even have to do that. I would say wait a decade. I think in a decade I would be in a place where I like could have my mortgage and stuff paid off, and have all the bills that you think about having to pay as a worker. If I could get all that taken care of, and I could then make a much smaller amount of money, I would go back to some passion projects. I would actually go back to like Resurrection Quest because there's a lot of story there that I still wanted to tell. I just can't do it. The book that shall not be named. Always wondered if using the name Alvin in Apocalypse Gates and Alpha World was intentional. Well, it wasn't Alvin in Alpha World. It was Albert. So um, using the name Alvin in Apocalypse Gates was intentional because I wanted Alvin Leon Lambert. I wanted ALL as his initials because I wanted to later be able to make the jokes of All In. Do you expect your editor to live edit your literal dialogue? That's about as impossible as a live episode of an animated show. You make that sound like it can't happen, JPES. Uh oh. I do occasionally have to, but I'm not as eloquent in real life, so he edits me sometimes and gets tremendous amount of joys out of doing so. It's true. I do edit her when she uses the wrong word, and I actually get to be like wrong word. Yeah, good day. I live for those days. Oh, and there was the mouthy Maven showing up. That was at 3:43, so I'm only 10 minutes behind. See, that's like nothing for me. I mean, it's not 2 hours behind like I've been before. That was the first time we did a live chat here. That was that was fun. Actually, it was like an hour back, but you were. uh, It was the very first time we did Twitch. So I hear you have exclusive art on your Patreon. In fact, I do, Dave. I've had exclusive art done by some fabulous people, like the one guy who writes oh, what is that? Girl Power, I think it was some kind of web comic out there. I can't think of the guy's name though, but he's done art for me before, so some good art in there. There's some good art and there's some bad art, but there is art. At the moment, I am in a dearth of art because my artists who have worked for me have to catch up on other work because life is life. And then I hope in the next month or two to be able to haul them back in to get some more art done. I can't believe Andy's here. She gets to listen to me for once. Yeah, fancy. How the turns tables. That is correct. Uh, we don't enable Sammy Cat. We encourage. I call it enabling. Oh, yeah, okay, chaos. Yeah, yeah. Audio is like bonus money. It really is for me. Um, I have tried in the past to throw even more money at a certain mouthy maven. So because I would love to use her for everything ever because she does such an amazing job. Slather that butter on a bit deeper. Well, I mean, rawr. I would like her to use her oral talents on all things that I love. Wait, I'm sure I can state this better. Hang on. I keep half expecting Andy to pop up to take half the screen. I mean, I would love to do a split screen with Andy live chat. That would be amazing. I'm not sure how that works for Twitch, but that would be amazing and I'd love that. Huh? Okay. That's what I was saying. I'm sure there's a way to do it. It would take looking into it, but I would totally do a live chat with Andy because Andy's amazing and talking to her is amazing. Hey, of course it took a hard turn. I'm here. And if you can't take it wrong, try harder. It's way more fun. I think I am catching up to you all, though. And if we run out of questions, that is horrible. You can go eat. That's fine. Go ahead. You could do that too. You can multitask.
I'm being responsible.
Don't be irresponsible. Be irresponsible.
And you have no one to
That's true. There will not be a responsible individual moderating things. And that's when it all went horribly wrong. Awards are who do you know 95% in most cases. And it was just the publisher who knows someone. See, because Andy would know, because she knows more people than I do. Because she is fantabulous. Becoming an overlord. Like Andy said, they want an anti-hero, not a real villain. I mean, true. That's what they actually want. Most people want a anti-hero. They want a Deadpool. They want someone who will do bad things, but for the right reasons. They don't want someone who will do bad things for their own twisted reasons. So, uh, what's wrong? What's wrong with a nice big head? There's nothing wrong with a nice big head, Mouthy. Just saying. And how often? But okay, yeah. I want to win the big Powerball jackpot. I mean, wouldn't we all like to win the big Powerball jackpot? I mean, I can't think of anybody who'd be like, "What? $300 billion? Nah, I don't need that." Uh, well, if I can figure it out for next month, and it lines up with, you know, with Andy being able to do it, then I would totally do a split Twitch monthly live chat with Andy, because more time with Andy is good time, which is what I will tell her later when we play video games together. Because Friday night is my video game night with Andy when things work out. Live edit, live narrating simultaneously. Wow, you really want like the worst of all worlds jammed together there, Andy. That's out of all of that though, the live narrating would have the easiest job because you would be waiting so much longer for the next thing to say. Gives me a disappointed harumph. I mean, yeah, I don't write that fast. She doesn't edit that fast. You can finish a chapter much faster than either of us will, Andy. So let's be responsible for those who are slower. Excuse me. Excuse me. Responsibilities getting on my nerves. Wellness, be safe, try to have at least some fun with whatever you have to do, and we will hopefully see you next time. Uh, I could help you set up a dual cam chat. I mean, I would totally be down for that, Dame. It's something to talk about for the next time because like we're not gonna try to jam it in here, or are we? Okay, I was told no. Okay, we will look into it and see about doing it in the future. Uh, like an adult. I mean, adulting badly is my superpower, so everyone knows DJ. He writes a book. We all go buy it. He buys another mansion for his parents. My pensions live in a shack. I mean, I help them get into said shack, but it's really a shack. Calling it a mansion would only be applicable if you were homeless beforehand. I agree, Outlaw. I agree, Outlaw. He is on his second listen through of Luck's voice in as many days. Thank Andy for the stellar job. I mean, yes. Yeah, now we wait for ACX to get around for it. So sometime in the next couple of weeks, maybe. Yeah, Andy's not camera ready. I figured you would not be, which is why I wasn't like, we're totally gonna do this right now. That's why we set it up ahead of time, so you're comfortable and I'm comfortable, because you, like me, would rather have time to prepare for this. You, because you want to make yourself even more beautiful, and me, because I have to get over my innate terror of actually talking to people. So, wow, I'm and banned. Well, that's good because that name scares me actually slightly. The, we have to stop just a moment to thank the Sammy Cats for deleting and banning somebody who deserved it. Oh, look at that! I have caught up to all of you. That's terrible. We've run out of questions and comments apparently. How sad. Just quite sad. This. Yeah, but then everybody has to become a follower. I mean, we could tell people, but I would like to hold off on that possible if see I happen to agree, Jazz. I think Andy is always camera ready. I mean, I did stay at her house for like a week, and I'd have to say that not once did I see Andy outside of presentable for cameras. But I could be biased. Well, McKnight, let's see. We're looking at what's my projected release date? September 8th. We're looking at September 8th currently. So that's for Lux Voice. So Lux Voice is currently projected at September 8th. Um, add 2 months to that would be November 8th. So you're looking for Binding Words 9 as an ebook currently November 9th. November 8th. Sorry, I'll get the numbers right eventually. Um, it takes me months to write a book that you demolish in a handful of hours. Since I am not one of those people who has perfected the I can write a book in 2 weeks, we deal with what we have. My editors could not keep up with me writing a book in a month on average, like some authors have done before, and I will not push them to the breaking point either. So, and then so what would that be? It would be January for AR for those people who are asking for the impossible. So, serious question: tacos or burritos? Well, Andy, it depends, honestly. I you can always fit normally more into a good burrito, and it's normally the same things that are going into the taco. I know a lot of people love tacos. They're small, they're hand sized. You can eat them with, well, you're gonna get messy. Let's be honest. It's a taco. Crunchy tacos even more so, because once the shell cracks and breaks as you bite into it, things have a tendency to fall all over the place. I myself actually prefer the burrito because it's easier to keep everything together. I know that might be heresy for some, but I like keeping all my food together so I can eat it easier. When I do have tacos, they're normally soft tacos because then I can make them into, basically mini burritos. But, uh, oh, look at that. People are starting to post again, so I got to scroll back up. Yay! We love you as much or more than the two of you together are awesome. Overload. We would lose our little furry minds. Well, dreams, that would be fine. I mean, you would get them back. We don't keep them forever. We just play with them a little bit and then, give them back mostly intact. He calls it our death house. We will definitely die here, but not anytime soon if we have a say in it. I mean, you're not moving again, Mom. So I think it's a fair statement, is all I'm saying. It's no in no way a grand manner of things. It's a small little home, just big enough for two people. It's all nice and flat, so if something happens and one of you ends up in a mobility helper, you'll be fine. When I build my house, I'm going to make sure that it's compliant to mobility help because honestly, at some point, I'm probably going to need it. And I'm missing things. I can hear Sammy laughing in the background as I answer older questions. So that's, I mean, you can take care of that problem before we game, Andy. I am positive in that. And if not, I will make you hungrier when we game. So hey, I did put out an estimate. Next book in the series based on previous releases. I mean, if you just estimate 2 months from last publish for the next book in rotation to come up, I've been fairly consistent. So, are there any podcasts you listen to? Actually, I do not listen to any podcasts, because most of my time is spent writing, and I can't listen to people talk and write at the same time. I have found out people talking disrupts the voices in my head. As bad as that sounds, I know. I can listen to music, even music with vocals, because I can blank those out in the background. It's at that point I'm basically just hearing the beat behind things as I'm writing. So no, I don't really listen to podcasts for that reason. I try to pop in as often as I can to Andy recording, even if it's just for a minute or two. I try to pop in once or twice a day while she's recording, just so I can get some Andy fix in. Helps keep the twitches down. Thank you for keeping the bots out. Uh, okay. What about the trolls that live under bridges? I mean, they're not terrible people. They get a bad rap. The Billy Goats had a much better PR game than the troll under the bridge. So what? Meh. How many words do you yeet downrange on a good day? I don't really go by words, Crab. Um, I try I set my minimum at one chapter a day. Some days I can get out two chapters. On a really odd day, I can get down three. But my minimum I set for myself when I sit down and write is a chapter a day. Today, for instance, I had a chapter. I had one chapter because then I had other life stuff to take care of, and I knew I was going to be doing this for a little over an hour and stuff. And then I'm going to have dinner, and then I'm going to game with Andy. So I got my responsibility, my business done because I knew that the rest of my day was going to be busy. And if I can, that's why I try to plan everything out. If I know, oh, I have to go down to deal with TSA today to do, get my fast travel paperwork with them, so I don't have to stand in the really long lines and pull my laptop out at every freaking airport. I can plan around that then for my writing. Okay, it's at 10 a.m. Okay, so when I get home, I'll really need to sit down and get my chapter done before I do anything else for the day. So I don't look at words. I know other authors do. I look at minimum of one chapter because if I write a chapter a day, even some of my longer books, then it would take me 2 months to write. I put 81 chapters I think in a book before, so almost 3 months worth of writing if I went by the minimum. But normally I can, you know, get out a second chapter on a couple of days. It would only take me at the most normally 2 months to write any given book. If you had the choice between Andy narrating all your books or Andy narrating your actual real life, would you feel bad for depriving everyone else of her talents? I would not feel bad of depriving uh, other people Andy's talents. If I could lock her into to narrating all of my books, I would do so. I don't need her to narrate my life. My life is boring. I'd much rather her narrate my books. If I could get her to narrate my books and then some other stuff when I don't have something for her, I would totally pay her for that. I cannot. I have tried bribery of almost every kind. She has this thing she calls ethics. I'm I'm like, okay, I understand. I'll work around what you'll give me as long as I can use her 90% of the time when I have a book that I'd like her to put put her talents into. The only correct answer is burritos. See, Andy, you and me, we get along so well in some ways. Uh, the real question is waffles or pancakes, and yet there's no French toast on there. What's wrong? Somebody answer French toast. I'm just saying, you need the third option. Just for that, well, Rob Dad gets added to the list just for that. Apparently, he will have a chance of winning a coin now because French toast. I don't have a preference on breakfast foods. I mean, the waffles pancakes is of course a nod back to Will Rand and super sales, but I actually don't have a preference on breakfast food in that regard. Tortilla cohesion is vital. It really is. You should aim for the fifth instead if you can. Then we can use rem, remember the 5th of November. I mean, fair enough, McKnight. I do have a tendency, of course, to publish books earlier than I've said because I try to not ever release a book late. So I try to build in a little buffer every single time. So you will get a book early, but not late, barring, like really life altering circumstances. And now, hang on, the taco burrito debate wasn't me. I was just answering questions. It's okay. I will throw myself on that sword for Andy. I will. Okay, it is entirely my fault. Burritos for the wins. You put a large soft tortilla on the plate, eat the hard tacos over it to catch the fixings that fall, and then you have a bonus burrito at the end. I mean, that would be one way to do it, JPEZ. I think you could probably go with the smaller, the little what, like 4-inch soft taco shells at that point, then, unless you just absolutely destroy your hard tacos when you eat them, like everything falls out. In which case, yeah, you wouldn't eat a larger one. My mind wasn't intact to start with, so you can return it. uh, let's see, we just have to. Okay, okay. Sounds good. Gotta run to work. Well, Mike, make sure to check back later just in case you're one of the winners. I will message people through, of course, um, Twitch. So let us. It's been over an hour, so let's go ahead and do a brief recap of things as well, which will let you guys get more comments and questions in. We published Dungeon Walkers third on the 6th of July. I will have to wait the 30 days to see how it does on sales. Um, and of course, the audiobook won't be out for months yet. However, we did get the audiobook to Lux Voice 3 put out just a couple of days ago. And if we're really, really lucky, somewhere around the end of this month, beginning of next month, ACX will finally release Lux Voice 4 audio, which went up to them the same day Audible released Lux Voice 3. The next book that will get published is going to be Lux Voice 5. What are you looking for? The next book to be published will be Lux Voice 5, which is currently slated for like the beginning of September. I will probably get it out before that because of who I am. Um, and then I have just barely finished writing Lux Voice 5. It's now all of that is with the editors all the way through to the end. They will finish editing it, throw it through the beta process, get it back to the editors, so on and so forth. But it does mean that in the next day or two, I will be starting up writing Binding Words 9. So things progress. For those people who are going to Dragon Con, there is the Medieval Time meet and greet that is on September the 1st. To get in the door to that event will cost you nothing. You just need to sign up for it. Me and a couple of other authors, most notably Mountaindale Press, made sure that costs of ticket for the event on what would normally be one of their off days was taken care of so we can host up to 300 people for that. So if you're going to be there for DragonCon, it would be really great if you wanted to come to that event. So that is the brief recap. We will now go back to answering questions again. Small little home. I imagine it being 12,000 square feet. Yeah, it's like a tenth of that, maybe even less. Xerox. Yeah, okay. Uh, gonna run. Okay, so that's my run to work. Okay, I did that. What types of music do you listen to? I normally put on Pandora. I kick over to the background of Nightcore. So it's an eclectic music. It's mostly upbeat music though, which helps. There are a couple of books where I will have a 2 or 3 song playlist that I will put on loop. Um, Notably, Need a Hero, um, during Luck's voice is that, and a couple other songs that fit my idea of music for Luck's voice that I will have on loop when I am writing that. Um, because they just help my brain generate the process of those books a little bit better. Types of music. Andy puts voices inside my head all the time, Rain. Once she has given voice to a character, um, once Andy has given voice to a character, I hear that voice for the character. Until she has given a voice to the character in an audio format, I have normally other voices in my head. But I have given Andy 100% control over all audio related stuff. She never has to ask me in what direction to take something. And if it's something that really bothers me, of course, we'll catch it post production. But oh, I see Andy saying goodbye. Andy, I will see you in a bit for gaming. Go enjoy your little floofball pets and your burrito eats. Do you have any full-on plans for your castle that you will build once you are rich enough to build and make it handicapped ready? The One of my girlfriends has mocked up floor plans for one. That'll more than likely be what we end up going for the house in the future. We will probably look at them again, maybe make small changes before then. But at the moment, things are things are set up. You're, uh, have you ever thought about writing a book that is based underwater? Um, no, I haven't at this point, Raininator. I mean, I've played games that are based on that idea. I mean, Subnautica being one of the more well-known ones. Um, I if I was going to do that, I would probably be some kind of civilization that, had gills so they could breathe underwater because I don't want to do the whole suspense of, oh my God, my air tank is running out. I don't like that kind of artificial drama. There's enough drama with just people being people. So that gets really weird. A lot of people would probably have a hard time imagining um, of that kind of reality, honestly. I used to do a chapter a day, which was roughly 3K. I know it isn't very good, but it adds up and allows me not to burn out with the pain in my head. I mean, that's one way to do it, McKnight. My chapters run around 2,000-ish words, give or take, a couple hundred. Normally right around 2K though. Um, I mean that's once again not a lot. A 100,000 word book could take you about 50 days to write that out, but once again that's less than 2 months, so I'm good with that because most of my books are in the 100,000 word ballpark. Of course, Aethers has been known to stretch into like 160,000 words at times, but normally 100,000 words is sufficient before I find a stopping point where I can be like, okay, I'm okay with closing this book out here and moving on to the next one. Uh, I don't know. I have never met you. Dream I picture your life being full of adventures and stuff that makes your book seem tame. That is not me, Xerox. I am an ogre. I'd much rather hunker in my cave and not deal with people and things. I get out of my house a couple of times a week to see, like friends, and that's about all the excitement I normally care for. We'll probably be playing Human Fall Flat, Rob. Marshmallow People. We're waiting for them to finally push Baldur's Gate into a semblance where they won't wipe the game when they do a major update. When they get to that point, we'll transition over. We played Divinity Original Sin 2 for quite a while before we finally finish that game out. We normally go with turn-based games because we're both pretty crap at like action games, and Andy has a tendency to run off. I've been told, and get into a lot of trouble with like open world games, and I prefer turn-based turn-based games myself because I don't do real-time strategy very well. My reflexes are crap. I'm really glad I get to just push buttons on a keyboard all day. He would definitely have given us a very large. Oh, mom. But I didn't want us to have to clean that much. We downsized purposely to 1,000 square feet. Well, I mean, much more than that, you wouldn't be able to reach it anyway, because I mean, you're only like tall. Well, that's fact. My mother is short and getting shorter, she says. Let me try this again. Bacon or ham for breakfast? Bacon. That's that's not a hard one to answer. If it's one or the other, what do you pick? Bacon. That's just me. I've never read Super Sales. I hear it's good, but it's not narrated by Andy. It's not. And I think it was. I think it had a couple of narrators work on it. Um, the story overall is good though. It was. I read books more than I listen to them. I am very picky on what I listen to because I've been spoiled by the Andy. Which of the new releases did best this year so far? Aethers. Aethers slightly edges out Binding Words for me, but still does edge out Binding Words on sales numbers. DJ, you are super entertaining. Thank you for doing these for us. Excited for Apocalypse Gates 9. Does that mean you have to get to Europe before the next book comes out? I mean, do I have to? No. I mean, I could easily take a trip to Canada or south into Mexico, but I would I would prefer to take a trip to Europe before writing any more Apocalypse Gates, honestly. Which once again, I hope to do so in the next couple of years, if nothing else. What about your writing has gotten you fussed at the most by your editors or Andy? By Andy, it's names that are similar. For instance, Ryan, Sean's wife, and Ryan Watercolor, um, who played a part in Binding Words. No, that was intentional, and she was okay with that one. She was okay with then and then. For my editors, sex, fighting, and gambling, because a lot of those have repetitive actions, and it gets hard changing the wording up enough while keeping the context the same, so it's not the exact same words over and over again. Those three things, those three um, actions have a lot of the same problems of repetition. But for Andy, it's definitely names. Ryan and Ryan being the uh, the funniest. That was completely unintentional. I didn't think about it because when I originally wrote Ryan, Andy asked me, "Is that supposed to be Ryan or is that supposed to be Ryan?" And I went, "Well, it's based off of Irish, so I guess it would be Ryan. You wouldn't split it as much as the English version of Ryan." Um, so she said okay, and then when I needed a first name for watercolor, I didn't think about the fact I had a Ryan, and I was just like, I need a name for this. And my editor at the time didn't either, so we had Ryan watercolor. The best part about that is Andy gave him like a slight Jamaican accent, which I absolutely loved, and made me want to change his first name after I heard her narrate him. So there's that. I have loved every single voice Andy has done for a character. There's never been one time where I've been like, "Whoa, Andy, this was way off the mark." It's just sometimes she gives me gems like Ryan Watercolor's voice, which makes me entirely too happy. Uh, that was when Andy left. How late does it have to be to see the dragon? Well, you can't actually see the eggs anymore because this tank doesn't reside behind me. It resides over on Sammy's desk across the room in the corner over there. Um, but it would have to be normally about after 8 p.m. for him to be out and about. He sleeps at this time of the day. Buck. It's hanging Buck. Thank you for coming in. It makes me think of Techno Chipmunks most of the time. It can, because Nightcore is basically just the song being sped up somewhere between 10% to 30% speed. Um, so some of the songs, yes, can do that. Most of the songs on the channel aren't sped up to that degree. And of course, since it's Pandora, you have thumbs up and down, and if you hit down, you almost never hear the song again. So you can just get rid of the songs you don't like. Have you ever watched the show Westworld? They like to take modern music and play them on the piano. Makes me think of Lux Voice. I actually have not seen the show Westworld. I watch very little TV. I would say none, but I do occasionally binge watch a show. Um, and I watch anime with my friends once a week. Um, so things like Cutthroat Kitchen, which I have seen. Um, but I don't catch shows like current shows. So hey, if I went to Amazon to buy Dungeon Walkers 3 and it's number one new release fantasy adventure fiction. Yeah, it's had the tag on it since it launched. Um, getting getting the less used tags. Fantasy adventure fiction is such a broken down niche. It's like, Norse mythology erotica without the erotica tag, Norse mythology psychology kind of thing. Amazon has 1,000 different tags. You can game the system to get that. I normally just set my books up in just like fantasy fiction categories, which means I compete against things like Lord of the Rings or whatever, or the next Harry Potter book and so on and so forth. Um, which means I get them less often, but the keywords also play a part. So in that case, it was the adventure part that triggered it over to a smaller niche category.
Norse mythology and Erotica. What a crazy.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna join in, that seems like a very easy place to join in, right? Unless you weren't looking for that kind of a join. AG8 was like 160,000 too. It was a chunky chunk. It was a chunk. But that's what happens when you're trying to, close out an arc. Well, Aether Survival have time skips. I mean, it already does have time skips. They're normally week-long time skips currently. If you're talking like massive year-long time skips, I haven't written them yet. Is it possible? Yes. Until I have written it, though, I don't know. That is my go-to answer for most questions. But Aethers has had time skips in some cases up to a couple of months in some books. I normally have to get to a place where it's like, okay, routine is established. Now I can time skip because you have an idea of what they're going through on a day-to-day basis. I can skip 2 months into the future and hey, he's talking to darkness again because they've gained another rank. So yeah, I can't do first person ish shooters. Um, I am complete crap at first person shooters. Third person shooters I am still terrible at, but not as bad as first person shooters. I think Sean should bring in trains. He has an electric motor. I mean, yeah, sure, Rain. And if you totally wanted to change how the world functions and catch the attention of the queens right away, I think that would do it. He is currently trying to stay off the queen's radar as much as possible, so I doubt he would do something like, by the way, let me connect cities. So, what used to take a month to travel between them is now only going to take a day. No, because the cars are limited down to like, 30 miles an hour. It's a game changer, but it's not train level game changer. Trains change so much in the economy. Now you can move mass goods so much easier. It would literally basically be like shooting up rockets and flares while raving flags and having a rave and being like, "Yo, something going on over here. Come check it out." I don't do turn based. It requires pre planning thought. I survived on chimp level reflexes and ooga booga energy. Well, that's fine, Crab. Everyone's different, as I've pointed out in many different ways. You do what you do. I prefer being able to plan things out. That's just how I am. I don't like surprises. Do you ever override your editors? Um, very rarely. Once or twice where they've been like, "You need to change this name," and I've been like, "No, I'm not gonna. This name is here for a purpose. It's staying in." Um, Mostly though, no, because they're not trying to change my book. They're just fixing my broken words. So I don't have a developmental editor. Developmental editor and me would clash a fucking lot because I see each series as one continuous story, and most developmental editors want to push down each book into its own story because that's what people are used to. I don't write that way though. Where some people have complained your books are slow and meandering, I'm like, well, that's because I'm looking at the overall series, not each book. So it's not slow and meandering so much as it's just this part where the action isn't, oh my god, we're killing everyone. You're going to have those moments unless you want to torture your characters so they never, ever have a good day. Uh, you put some wood inside the pool noodle. Yeah, that would get it stiff, all right. That would be some stiff noodle. Gate is the best anime. Can't ever change my mind. I actually love Gate Xerox. Gate, so the Self Defense Force FOD is one of my favorites. The main character is aware enough to understand what is going on, while the harem around him builds, and he, shies away from it enough while also still caring about the people next to him. Um, I never read the manga, so I don't know what might not have happened, and I keep hoping for more of it, but I really doubt it's ever going to see it. It got a lot of flack for being a JDSF puff piece for all intents and purposes, Japan Self Defense Force puff piece. I'm like, well, what else would you use to go into another world that assaulted you guys? You're not just gonna send random people off the streets over to check it out for you. So I thought the storyline was well put together. I really enjoyed Gate. Uh, Thank you very, very. Where was I? Norse mythology erotica. What a phrase to join in on. I mean, I agree, Yak Band, and I've caught up to you all again. That's once again terrible. Do you have a special keyboard to help you type on to help with your typing? I mean, no, I actually use like the $20 Logitech keyboard from like Walmart. And when it breaks, I go get another $20 keyboard from Walmart, normally Logitech brand. They function, they do the job I need to do. And I don't try to macro, 30 different keys for video games on them, so I don't need a fancy keyboard. If I was like the elite pro gamer, like some guys who have like the separate pad that's got all the macros on it, and the button clicks, you press this button in the middle mouse button, and it does something different than this button in the right mouse button. But for me, it's just a $20 Logitech keyboard. It does what I need it to do. Uh, Hal Dread God from Cradle was listed as bestseller in fantasy erotica for a time. Really, Dread God was? That is freaking hilarious. Considering that Will Wright writes some of the cleanest books I've ever read, um, that is vaguely amusing. The only thing I could think of is maybe I've only read a bit of it, but Malice does some has some questionable comments thrown in at times. Maybe that triggered their erotica flag for all I know, but it's Amazon. You can never tell what's going to raise a flag with them. Erotica though is a death flag, so hopefully he got that straightened out. Hey, Jal, welcome in. Have you ever had any formal training with writing, any workshops or retreats? I have not, Rob. I have gotten through with pure grit, determination, and my face rolling back and forth across my $20 keyboard. Um, the only writing training I ever had was high school writing. Write these short stories. Um, I've had stories in my head since I was a kid, but I've never had formal training. Most formal training will try to fit you into the box that most writers use. This is, start, rising action, action, falling action, conclusion. They try to all of those workshops normally try to push you into the same mold of how a book should flow, which is fine. That is what most people expect from a series. Um, that is just not how I'm going to write. I have once or twice attempted to write in such a fashion. It's a freaking disaster because I want to write the way I write, which is I want to spend the time with the characters and let them tell me what's going on and not try to put them on rails and be like, this is what you're going to do this. That's why other writers can do things like write chapters out of sequence because they use a very delineated outline. They use an outline where they know these are the events that are going to happen, and so it doesn't really matter in what order they write them, and then they can just slot them in as they need. I would go nuts trying to do that because I write start to finish with my books because I never know what my characters are going to do. You have a moving icon? Ah, interesting. Grab vehicle. For going over the water, Alvin would have to fly the helo for 3K or more, so like 30 hours of flight time. I mean, he can though because it just eats up durability, and they can repair that. And it's not like he has to do it all in one go. I mean, they can fly for 6 hours, go back to the base, or could. Now it would all be in one flight. That would be boring as fuck. Let's be honest, or terrifying depending on what's in the air. Or you pay attention to what happens in Apocalypse Gates 8, where you step into the Elven world in one place and you can step out onto Earth in another, and then you don't quite have that problem. And maybe there are others that do it. He asked about Gate. I can't wait for season 3. I don't know if it'll ever actually happen. You have to remember, anime is just a marketing tool for manga. That's why a lot of anime get one season, possibly two, and then just stop. It has to be wildly successful for them to be like, yeah, we'll give you another season. Most of it is just to drive people into reading the manga, because that is where most of the money is going to be made for them. Gate is a far more realistic Portal fantasy that really does add a lot to. Like I said, I really enjoyed the anime. If you have never watched Gate, so the Self Defense Force fought, um, if you like anime at all and you like Portal fantasies, I'd say watch it, read it, anime it or manga it as you would like. Um, it's a fun time. What anime are you currently watching? The end of we just basically finished off the anime we had been watching for the season. So of course we watched. Well, I watched Spy X Family, which is funny to me. That anime setup is just hilarious to me. Um, we watched Skeleton Knight. Skeleton Knight. Hang on, I'm going to tab another another option open over here. So, Skeleton Knight in Another World, Love After World Domination, Spy X Family were all ones that we watched through over the last couple of months because we watch. If we're caught up, we watch then an episode of like three different anime. Um, if we're caught up, if not, then we sling through. We're still going through Demon Slayer, which had been released before. The first season of that, we missed it last time it came through. And now, outside of my friends, because I, will watch anime if I'm like eating sometimes. I just finished Birdie Wing. I like golf, so Birdie Wing was a golf anime. Um, and Shikamori's Not Just a Cutie, which was a great like gender reversal of who the protector is in an anime. So, and we did, of course, catch back up on the Rising of the Shield Hero. Now I gotta scroll back up, I think. I am doing good, Cage. Not terrible, not amazing, just kind of normal day, especially for a live chat. It's gonna be time for food soon, and then gaming with Andy. So let me see if I can answer off your guys' questions here. Um, so the Self Defense Force Spot, if I remember right, is like the subtitle of it because I think there's another anime out there called Gate. But Gate, so the Self Defense Force Spot. If you type all of that in, you'll probably find it. Books. Thank you for talking to us. No problem, Rain. Thanks for coming in. Did you read Joe Kuster's Lightfoot? It reminded me of your books. I talk to Joe occasionally. I have read, I think, everything he's published to this point. Joe, however, has like an important job that like pays for everything. Writing was just something he was doing on the side. Probably he would like to get into more to get away from the high stress job he currently has. And I've read a couple of chapters of things he hasn't published on the side. I enjoy what Joe writes. Some of it is fun and upbeat, and some of it will get you thinking. Uh, the Zon fears the we. It was either Joss's fault or Ethan's fault. I mean, fair enough, McKnight. I mean, it's probably Ethan's fault. Let's be honest. He is the root of all trouble. I love the character development you put into your characters. I mean, they're just people. They're people. I don't put character development into my characters. They are the people they are. I just write the stories as they come to me, guys. I don't try to force things. If somebody is a happy-go-lucky squirrel and the reason why is a traumatic past, that's her traumatic past and that's who she is. I didn't try to make her that way. That's just what her story is. Yeah, we were still going, Ralph. Congratulations. You went AFK, but you came back, and we were still here. Gate, thus the JDSF fought there. See, somebody got the full name. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I have bought a lot of manga in recent months. I mean, fair enough, Jel. I actually don't read manga. Sammy reads manga. I don't. Um, it's never something I've been into. I will read the light novel of things. I've read, In Another World with a smartphone light novel. I've read what was the other one? I read a few of the different light novels that have come out. I like them. That's why I've read Rising of the Shield Hero. I've read the light novels through that, which is well past the anime at this point. Um, and some I continue with, and after a certain time, I'm just like, okay, I kind of know this story. We're seeing the same things kind of come back up again, and that's normally when I stop. Uh, I've never bought manga. Currently working through a Kama ga Kill. Kind of dark, honestly, that anime. Gates more their location on Earth is in Book 8 now. If I could find it as a light novel Xerox, I would read it. I have a hard time reading manga. So, Skeleton Knight in Another World. I really enjoyed that one. No time these days for either. I mean, fair enough. I need caffeine. Then get caffeine, Gab. Going through AG and talk that it's only 8 books. I know 1 through 4. Some of the best books DJ's ever released. Um, Book 4 is where the drop off really started. Xerox for Apocalypse Gates. Apocalypse Gates. Book 1 and 2 did really well. Book 3, there was a small decline. Book 4, there was a bigger decline. And then at that point, 5, 6, and 7, the drop off just kept continuing, which is why I was like, okay, I'm going to write 8 and try to wrap up the North American arc because I had to. I do not want to leave series hanging open if I can help it, which is why I'm still okay with Resurrection Quest, and that Resurrection Quest 1 ended after the first book, where they were going to move on to the next town, and I was like, I can be okay with it stopping there, with it being the bust that it was, because it was a clear stopping point. Do you think your books would work better in anime episode format or TV live action episode format? I'm not sure my series would do well in either format, considering how they're laid out. They're not laid out in distinctive chunks, which is what both of those want. Um, because both of those normally every episode has something going on that you're going to be focused on. And if you just take like Binding Words, you would go through a whole episode where it would just be Sean trying to figure out how a steam engine works with magic. I'm not sure that would be gripping enough for people, honestly. Which means they would need the whole series to be done for those people who are screenwriters to go back through and be like, okay, what can we do with this? Uh, I can go through about a book a day on the weekend. I don't even do that. I try to give myself an hour a night to read. Sometimes I can stretch it into two if I stay up a little late. So at this point, it normally takes me like a week to get through one book, which is why I have a backlog of things to get through. Back before I was a writer, I could go through a book a day. Seriously, do you ever feel schizophrenic with all the voices in your head? No, because it's not like they're talking to me all the time while I'm, washing dishes or anything else. They're that I hear the story when I sit down at my keyboard and I'm like, okay, tell me more, and then the story flows out of my fingers through the keyboard. So it's not like it's not like schizophrenia where all the voices are in your head chatting all the time. That's not how I write. But the stories are there. I just have to transcribe them basically. Locke's Voice was arguably his second best book, but Mining Words was really good too. See, and that's the thing, Xerox, is everyone has their own preference. Some people would argue that with you all day. They, think Aether Survival is the best series, followed by maybe Binding Words or Lux Voice or so on and so forth. Overlord is okay. I have a problem with Overlord with the main character being as clueless and as honestly lazy as he is. I read up through I think the last light novel that got published that I know of for Overlord, and I should check to see if there was another one put out. But the main character for Overlord has character issues I have a problem with. So that being he's not proactive enough in anything. Um, and he doesn't seem to understand that he should be watching his evil minions. But hey, eventually I'm sure all that will come to a head. Uh, I think that the fall off in AG was because of the transition to a bigger scale, more. Actually, the Rob the biggest complaints I had for Apocalypse Gates was the fact that it was a road story. They were constantly going from place to place, meeting more people, having roughly the same conversation. Because honestly, if you're in that world and you're going from place to place and you're meeting new people who are trying to deal with the apocalypse, you're going to have a lot of the same conversations. And I understood that. Um, with them getting to Huey at the end of book 7 going into book 8, it shouldn't have surprised me that book 8 did as well as it did. I think part of that though was the fact that it was oh hey, the series is wrapping up, and then people going back and jumping on. 53 hours, you can no, just no, fuck off and die. You need sleep in there. No problem, Steam. Thanks for coming in. I'm gonna wrap things up. I'm gonna get through the rest of what's here, guys, and then we're probably gonna wrap up so I can go have dinner and stuff. Turning novels into real life these days, terrible. It butchered and resembled into utter under. I mean, pretty much. I like all books. They're fit different genre touch similar, if that makes sense. I understand, Joe. I mean, that's I like the different genres I've written, and I like the different stories that I've written. I've only seen the 2 seasons of the cartoon, and I wish it brought back either one way. Oh, the tiny dinosaur dragon has made an appearance. What are you doing awake, dude?
He was awake.
Wow. Hi. Yep. It's delayed by a little bit. Do you have any characters that when Andy voiced them ended up being drastically different than was in your head? I mean, yeah, but then I was like, I totally love what she did here, and then that going forward, that's fine. You're trying to get to me, trying to attack the beard. I understand. He was threatened by the beard. I understand. Uh, reason isn't ending the game time. It's not the real reason. I'm going to eat first, honestly, and probably watch an episode of Firefly while I eat with my girls, and then I will end up playing with Andy. So I mean, there are steps. Okay, so we have caught up to everyone. He woke up, Xerox. That's why we suddenly he came out of his hide. So that's why she decided to bring him over and give you the little dinosaur lizard dragon thing. So everyone, thank you for coming. We did basically 2 hours of live chat. I really appreciate you being here. I will compile and get names up, if not later tonight, then by tomorrow. So please check back tomorrow. Check your whispers at that point. See if I've messaged you. If I have, please reply back so we can see about getting you whatever coin you have chosen as your victory. So, until August, stay safe because people be crazy. Okay? Okay. Bye.